So, a warm welcome to all of you. Thank you for joining this webinar. You can also quickly take some time to let me know your expectations from this webinar. If you're already practicing any form of meditation, you can also mention that on the chat. You can also submit questions or comments using the chat window on the right. Thank you very much for joining me today, and I wish to do my best to address your queries and give you the wisdom that is needed. So the topics which we are going to cover today are like types of meditations and stages of meditations, and also Kundalini energy, cosmic energy, differences between Kundalini and cosmic energy, the common distractions during meditation, common experiences during meditation, do's and don'ts, and tips for effective and easy inner journey. So you can also pre-order the Meditation Facilitator Mastery ebook from the link emultiversity.org/product/meditation experiences ebook. It costs just 99 cents and 75 rupees. You can order it anytime during the webinar or after the webinar. This contains additional information which can help you become a complete master in meditation. As a bonus, you also get a free ticket to my meditation facilitator certification course. You can use this as a reference guide for your spiritual practice as well as teaching to others. So there are various kinds of meditations like passive meditations and some form of active meditations. So the passive meditations are like Anapanasati, mindfulness, Vipassana, Raj Yoga meditation by Brahma Kumaris, silent sitting, chakra observations, and guided meditations and visualizations. And there are many forms of active meditations like breath working, like holotropic breath work, rebirthing breath work, transcendental breath work, dynamic meditation, Kriya Yoga, Kundalini meditations, Sudarshana Kriya, and Shambhavi Kriya. So when to use what? Active meditation versus passive meditation. So even though some people compare and say one form of meditation is better than other, I would say every meditation technique has its own positive effects for a given context and situation. You can practice, you can experiment with all kinds of meditation techniques, and you can use whatever is best applicable for you at a given context, at a given situation. Active meditations can help us to easily come out of common distractions and also psychosis, whereas passive meditations can take our journey much deeper and also be more insightful. When you are in front of some group which you feel like they don't understand your spiritual practices, like when you are in office or when you are traveling, and where you don't want to attract any unnecessary attention, you can practice uh, passive meditations like anapanasati or like mindfulness, like vipassana. And whenever you are suffering from some psychological disturbances, like when you are suffering from depression or some psychosis, some deep mental turbulence, where you cannot focus on one point at a time, so during those times you can go for active meditations. So during psychosis or during depression, passive meditations can intensify the problems for you. So the science behind meditation. So what is the major purpose of meditation? Like many people come for many different reasons, but one of the major purpose for meditation is calming the mind. Mind is mostly correlated with breath. So breath is the focal point for almost all forms of meditations. Like even if you take all meditations which are active meditations like dynamic meditation and uh, uh, Kriya Yoga or Sudarshana Kriya, uh, and passive meditations like Anapanasati and mindfulness. All these things have breath as a focal point. Breathing activity is directly proportional to mental activity. Like when your mental activity is more agitated, your body needs more breath, and breathing is also chaotic. And when your mind is more relaxed, you need less breath, and breathing is also rhythmic. Significance of breath. Breath is the bridge between conscious mind and unconscious mind. So we can travel from our conscious awareness to unknown within us. Breathing is the first and foremost thing we did as soon as we come out of mother's womb. That means as soon as we become alive. Breathing can help us reconnect with our true self. Almost all neural activities and all sensory and motor functions of the body are performed with the help of breath. Breath can also help us become active, like during like right nostril breathing can help you become more active by activating Surya Nadi or Pingala Nadi. And also breath can help you become relaxed and also become passive by using left nostril breathing. Like you can switch, like if you switch to left nostril breathing, you will become more relaxed and you will become very passive. If you go with right nostril breathing, you will become more active. So next topic is stages of meditation. So many masters in their meditations or in their uh, processes have described different stages. So I'm going to cover three masters today, uh, who are like Patanjali and Buddha and Patriji. So Patanjali has 8 sutras for meditation, for the stages of meditation. These are like Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayam, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. Yama means constricting the behavior of us, and Niyama is more about our controlling the mind. Asana is getting into some physical postures. Pranayama is control of breath. Pratyahara is withdrawal of senses. Dharana is concentration. Dhyana is meditation, and Samadhi is absorption into one's own self. Stages of meditation according to Buddha. Buddha had created 7 steps and 7 stages of meditation. The first stage is Anapanasati, being mindful of one's breath. Second stage is Kayanupassana, contemplation of the body. Whatever the sensations happening in the body, you observe that, you be a witness to that. And then Vedanupassana is contemplation. Like you can observe the feelings, you can be a witness to the feelings. Chittanupassana is contemplation on thoughts. Whatever some thoughts which are happening in your subconscious, maybe these can be subconscious memories or in childhood memories or past life memories. So these thoughts also get surfaced. Chitta is equal to subconscious mind. So these things get surfaced and you can be a witness to this also. This is the fourth stage. And fifth stage is Dhammanupassana, contemplation on Dhammas. So Buddha had created some eightfold path called Dhammapada. So contemplation on these Dhammas and then practicing these Dhammas is the fifth stage. The sixth stage is Vipassana. Vipassana is you become just an awareness. You just become awareness to whatever is happening within your body or within your uh, feelings, within your subconscious mind, and be neutral to it and be a witness to it. This is Vipassana. And the seventh stage he calls as Nirvana. When we are flowing these 2 stages, we attain this ultimate bliss called Nirvana. So according to Patriji, he divided meditation into 3 stages. In stage 1 is you are with the breath, your mind becomes empty. In stage 2, when mind becomes empty, you absorb, you receive enormous cosmic energy. Enormous cosmic energy flows into the body. In stage 3, this enormous cosmic energy purifies The nervous system, energy nervous system called Nadi Mandala. This state is called Nadi Mandal Shuddhi, and also can result in heightened awareness in the form of third eye experiences and astral travel. So there are correlations between all these three stages. For example, if you consider pranayama, pranayama is compared to anapanasati in uh, Buddha's stage, and also it is compared to mindfulness of your breath in Patriji stage. And pratyahara and dharana is compared to three stages of Kayanupassana, Vedanupassana, and Chittanupassana. Even Pratyahara is, taking the senses within and observing the things within. And this is what is Buddha also said. And even this is where we enter into stage 2, where there is huge influx of cosmic energy and lot of things start to happen within our body. And being an observant to all these things in stage 2 and stage 3 can be called pratyahara. And dhyana and samadhi is related to vipassana and nirvana. So this is how we can compare between the stages. And next we will focus on kundalini energy. There are basically two energies which we need to understand. One is kundalini energy and other is cosmic energy. So basically, when we are doing meditation, we are trying to deal with these two energies. One is cosmic energy and one is Kundalini energy. So Kundalini energy is the form of energy which is inherently within our body. It is positioned in the root chakra and travels towards upward. It travels from bottom to top. It goes through step by step. Each chakra by traversing each chakra. And it also enhances the qualities of each chakra when it is trying to travel one level to another level. Let's say Kundalini is at root chakra, you started to feel more secure, you start to feel more abundant, and you start to feel more what you call vitality. And when it flows through the second stage called Swadhisthana, second chakra, Swadhisthana chakra, there you will be more sensual, uh, you will be more relaxed, and also you will be more feeling the pleasure of the body, pleasure of the sensitivity, if you can feel the breath. So, and then when it goes to Manipuraka, you feel a lot of confidence within you. You get into some kind of you access the power within you, and you become more empowered. You become more self-reliant. You become more self-confident. Your self-esteem rises. Your self-worth rises. And when it goes to Anahata, your heart opens, and then you attract more love, and also you give more love. So giving and receiving love becomes very easier. And when it comes to your Vishuddhi, your expression center, it also heals complete. Your body gets completely healed of all its ailments, and it clears all the blocks in the throat chakra, and then it will help you to be more communicative. It can help you to be more expressive. And when it reaches your third eye region or Agna chakra, you will have some visions, and then when it reaches Sasra, you experience bliss. So these are the Kundalini flows from from bottom to top. It is more like the Shakti. If you take Shiva and Shakti, Kundalini is more in the form of Shakti. So that's where there is Lalita Sahasranama. Lalita Sahasranama is all about Kundalini energy. It's all about Shakti. It's all about Lalita Devi. It's more a feminine form of energy. Here, the basic thing is surrenderance. To Kundalini, the basic important aspect is surrendering to it. You allow the energy to flow. You don't control it. You don't control the energy, you allow the energy, you respect the energy. And once Kundalini is activated, you need not do much effort. It finds its way to reach to the top. The only effort we may have to do is clearing the blocks on the pathway by clearing your nervous system, by doing Nadi Mandal Shuddhi. So cosmic energy is not within our body. It is getting filled from outside. We attract cosmic energy during meditation or during sleep when we have reduced mental activity. It flows from top to bottom. It starts from this Brahmarandra, from the top, and then flows downwards. It also heals all the nervous system. It also clears all the blocks in the nervous system and helps the body to be more aligned to the flow of energy, flow of Kundalini. It is more like Shiva. It's a masculine form of energy, and abundant cosmic energy can trigger Kundalini activation, and both energies start to flow inside body. And we are receiving the body, we are receiving the cosmic energy from top to bottom, and Kundalini is flowing from bottom to top, and it's completely there is a circulation of energy within our body, and we become very abundant, we become very completely healthy. Cosmic energy helps us in purifying our energy nervous system and also results in heightened awareness experiences. Okay, so moving ahead, we'll go to understand some of the common distractions we face during meditation. Like there are external distractions, like some disturbances coming from outside, like someone is clearing the throat or coughing or snoring, or the clock is ticking, the mobile phones sounds, notifications, even some sounds from outside of the room. All these things can be avoided by choosing a quiet place or using some earmuffs. There is also another option. You can start playing some soft music to bring back your attention from the external distractions. Internal distractions, this is where the real challenge comes. External distractions can be easily avoided, but internal distractions, there is a lot of effort which we need to do. Like uh, these distractions can be physical or mental or emotional, and also sometimes it can be very painful, and it can create a lot of unnecessary hassle for us. Physical distractions, these are like pain in body parts, numbness or pinpricks of legs. When we are sitting for a long time, we feel like our legs are getting numb. Also there can be some backache. There, like the muscles which are not used to sit for a long time start to throw some tantrums. It tries to uh, it wants us to get away from the meditation. So you need not worry a lot about these things. You again try to practice, like like Patanjali had said, asana. You can always try to practice the asana. So you can choose the very stable and comfortable posture, whichever is right for you. Either you can sit or sleep or stand, whatever it is for you. You can use whatever posture which is stable for you, so that you can avoid these body pains. And pain might also be due to the push of cosmic energy through blocked energy channels. As we discussed earlier, there can be some energy blocks in our energy nervous system. So these energy blocks, when it is getting cleared off by the flow of cosmic energy or by the push of cosmic energy, this also can cause some pain for us. Itching sensations or physical restlessness. This can also be very much distracting for us, but the only way is to again bring back our attention to our focal point, either if it is or either if it is whatever the focal point, whichever meditation you are following. So physical restlessness can also manifest as hyper awareness of the physical body, such as heartbeat getting increased, or blocked sinuses. We feel sometimes there is a lot of disturbances in our sinus area, some digestive discomfort. So don't get too much involved in these distractions. Notice the restlessness and get back to breath. So coming to mental distractions, there are many kinds of mental distractions like mental restlessness, resistance and resentments, increased thoughts, unconscious sleep, and some emotional distractions. Mental distractions are caused by thoughts. Thoughts can be anything like planning or fantasizing about something, likes and dislikes, physical sensations, or maybe neutral. They may be happy or unhappy memories related to stress of the day or some other lingering issues of the past. They may be recent thoughts, random thoughts, new story, bills you may need to pay, or a song playing in your head. Whenever the thoughts may arise, whenever these distractions come, they arise and disappear on their own. You need not interact with them, you need not control them, you need not fight with them. No? As they arise, they disappear. As soon as you realize that you have been thinking, just bring the attention to your focal point. Sometimes mind refuses to let go of these thoughts. If that is the case, don't fight with your mind. Allow it to wander while you focus on your breath or some other focal point. Mind doesn't want to pursue things which it is allowed to do so. It only goes after things that are not allowed, which are forbidden. It is okay even if mind is wandering. You just be present with it and allow it to wander and still be aware of your breath. Gradually, meditation will open you to the space of non duality, and in that space, you are comfortable with both stillness of the mind and also the movements in our mind. Meditation is becoming aware of the nature of the mind. It's not about fighting with the mind, it's becoming aware. It's becoming, you just become a knower. You just become, you just know, you just see, you just watch the mind and its play. Mental restlessness arises out of past memories or future worries. So when these happen, let them come and go. Don't try to stop them or don't be bothered by them. These are just waves of mind. If you leave them alone, mind will calm down. Resistance is due to non-acceptance of the present situations or circumstances in your life. In meditation, we wish to say, stay here and now. Just notice the resistance and get back to breath. Meditation is a habit which takes time to get used to it. We cannot force meditation. It takes its own time to develop. Don't rush your practice. Be gentle with yourself. If you feel peaceful, accept it. If you don't feel peaceful, accept it too. These are just various aspects of mind. Don't give up your practice, come what may. Increase thoughts. In the beginning, when you are starting meditation, when you sit quietly, you become aware of all your thoughts. Thoughts are already there. It's not like meditation is bringing more thoughts. Already the thoughts are there. You are just becoming aware of it. So just watch it. Unconscious sleep. If you can't hear anything from outside and you have not been distracted, perhaps you have fallen asleep. Sometimes fallen asleep in our meditation speaks about our tamasic nature. Sometimes we may feel asleep because we do not want to face repressed feelings that meditation brings up by opening us up. In this case, sleepiness is a state of avoidance or resistance. Sometimes sleep is actually also a yoga nidra, a thought-free state of mind which feels like you are asleep. When you wake up in this state of mind, you automatically go back to your breath or the attention where your mind was focused. In this state, a meditator had been successful in making the mind quiet but the feelings of peace, clarity and well-being of meditation are arising. If you sleep during meditation, check your motivation for meditation. If you are really tired, take rest and meditate later, but do not get discouraged. If you wake up hearing snoring, don't feel embarrassed or frustrated. Just bring your awareness to your breath or any other focal point. This awareness of snoring also means that you are aware of your relaxed body sleeping. Intention, focus, and balance will make our meditation fruitful and rewarding. Emotional distractions. Most thoughts are accompanied by emotions. Emotions like fear, anger, jealousy, pride, and sadness often follow our thoughts. The problem is that we carry judgments about these emotions and feel frustrated with our effort to meditate. When you get lost in thoughts and emotions, you stop observing the breath and notice the thought and underlying emotion as a witness with awareness without getting lost into them. Just allow it to flow through. You have to be present with whatever comes up and then come back to the breath. The idea is to allow your breath to be whatever is predominant in your experience in any given moment during meditation. For example, imagine yourself sitting in a comfortable sofa and reading a book, and the telephone rings. You go and attend to it and then come back to your seat and read the book. Suddenly, you remember something you need to be attentive in the kitchen. You check it and come back to your seat and read your book. Something happens in meditation between various experiences. You attend it and then you come back to your focal point. You attend to whatever is happening in your experience, and once that is done, you return back to your breath. Experiences pull away our attention from the breath. All we have to do is notice the experience, acknowledge it, and come back to breath. The breath remains the home state or our anchor. As you practice meditation, you will start noticing that while mind clings to physical sensation, thoughts, or emotions, there is a deeper, quieter level of awareness which observes all these aspects of mind without getting affected by them. In meditation, we learn that we are not our physical sensations, thoughts, or emotions. We are the state of awareness that watches everything come and go. Our true self is not attached or identified with anything that arises. It only experience it only allows the experience to flow past it. So now coming to the topic of meditation experiences. So let us just understand what Lord Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna says, Ascharyavat pashyati kashchitenam, Ascharyavat vadati tataiva chanyaha, Ascharyavat Ascharyavat chainam anyashrunoti, Shrutvaप्येनम vedana chaiva kaschit. So some people look on the self, look at this atma, look into the soul as wonder, and some speak of it as a wonder, and some hear of it as a wonder. Still others, though hearing, do not understand it at all. So we can divide our meditators also into four types. Some people just experience the experience, and some people can talk about this experience, and some people only hear about these experiences, and some people hear but just ignore it. So meditational experiences originate from our inner non-physical senses, also known as extrasensory perceptions. These are just byproducts of the process of meditation. These experiences happen in the here and now. Only soul can travel there. Our intellect cannot travel this place called eternal now. We cannot control, we cannot recreate, or we cannot manipulate these experiences. In this process, we cannot be at peace. Peace comes only when you are present in that space without judgment and being okay with them as they are. So, some of the common experiences are like body weight experiences. Body becomes heavy. This is due to extra energy stored in the system that is not being able to circulate freely. Some people experience their body becoming very heavy and tons of weight added to it. Generally, head is the first place where this heaviness of weight is noticed. Sometimes the body may feel immobilized or paralyzed. just refusing to budge. Just allow it to happen. Just be present to it when that is happening. The basic science behind here is, there is some blocked energies, so this need to be released. You can come back to your breath, or if it is too much disturbing, or if it is too much of heaviness, you can try to breathe into that. Like, you can take more breath and use your breath to release that energy. You can use your breath to clear that path of clear the energy path. Body becomes light. This usually happens when energy meridians are clear of all the blocks and energy is flowing freely. People might even feel like losing body awareness and feel a sense of bodilessness. In this state, some people start even levitating. You might have seen it in some movies or in some people where, people start levitating during this meditation, because during that time the energy is completely flowing freely and all the energy blocks are cleared, so that we feel this lightness in our body. Body movements. So this also many people experience. Like, the basic science behind here is, like, our human body consists of 72,000 channels called nadis. When cosmic energy enters the body, the energy force rises in these channels, which in turn creates random body movements, such as head moving side to side like this, or falling back and forward. Like, suddenly there can be some jerks in the body, or some contractions and spams, body swaying or swinging like this. There can be some tremors, something like some tremors in our body, and spontaneous alignment of the spine. Like, sometimes it can stay erect, or sometimes it can fall down. These are all the things which happen with the body movements. So when you understand that these are all manifestations of energy movements, you will stop feeling anxious about such experiences. When the body is purified of all the energy channels have been cleansed, energy moves in a smooth flow and these experiences come to an end. Sometimes a meditator may lose body consciousness, then he experiences a violent jerk and the body falls over. This usually happens when one is moving at deeper into meditation. When physical body becomes saturated with cosmic energy, it starts moving into a cosmic dance, creating various mudras and also some yogic postures. This I used to experience a lot. Like, I used to uh, get into some mudras like this, even some yogic postures. My body get into some postures, very weird postures sometimes. People who used to see it very are very much afraid, where because what was happening with him, like, but these are all normal. When body is saturated with cosmic energy, automatically all these yogas and all these mudras automatically get surfaced from our higher intellect. Sometimes the body starts trembling, while at other times it shakes violently, just like an earthquake inside the body. There is also movement of tongue, tightening of the back or neck, or various contractions inside the head. So these are all some kinds of body movements, and always be aware that all these things are different manifestations of our energy, and just allow it to happen. Just don't feel anxious about it. Body temperature variations. Like, sometimes we experience some physical warmth, like, our body becomes too much, experiences a lot of heat. We feel there is a lot of heat getting generated in our body, or there can be some cold shivers in our body. We feel completely cold. In meditation, energy moves in through each cell of our body. This energy is experienced as physical warmth or heat. Some people also start sweating. Cold shivers. Some people get cold shivers when high vibrational energy moves through them. They may experience goosebumps also sometimes. So just don't be afraid and allow these things to happen. Auditory experiences. Like, there can be some mystical sounds we may hear. Like, some people might hear some sound waves or sounds of om, some bells, some drums or some musical instruments like veena and flute. Some of these sounds are also known as anahatanada, which means sounds coming from heart chakra, or brahmanada, the universal sounds of creation. I always believed, the creation of universe is made through sound. Sound is a basic, it creates a kind of energy flow. It creates a kind of vibration such that the creation can happen. So we hear these sounds, these kinds of mystical sounds, buzzing, droning, hissing, or some thunder sounds. Some people may feel this deep buzzing, low continuous humming or murmuring sound, droning or hissing noise in the air. Sometimes ears become warm and hot air is coming out of the ears. At times people feel something similar to heartbeat in the ears, something is vibrating in the ears. So these are some kinds of auditory experiences. Just allow these things to happen. So these things normally happen when our vibration level is rising, when we are trying to rise our vibration level and we are trying to align to the different frequencies, higher frequencies. These experiences happen. Sensory experiences, feeling of breeze on the skin. Sometimes people feel a cool tingling breeze like sensation all over the body due to movement of pranic energy. Sometimes we feel like something is flowing on our body, some uh, uh, very pleasurable feeling. Divine fragrances, some people smell fragrances of flowers, incense, or some unfamiliar and unidentifiable fragrances. So I used to this I used to feel like very intense fragrance. So this normally happens when we align ourselves to higher vibration, and whenever some astral master is around us during meditation. So we experience his vibration in the form of a smell. Like dogs smell us, we can also smell these higher vibratory beings. So these are the divine fragrances. Taste in mouth. There is another experience where people taste some sweet, bitter, or salty taste on their tongue. Sometimes they experience automatic swallowing of some fluid. So there is some fluid. Normally, what happens is during meditation, there will be some drops of nectar which are getting released into our mouth from our third eye region. So during these times, we feel these kinds of tastes, and also swallowing it is wonderful and beautiful. And creeping movements of the spine. Some people feel upward creeping movements, like some snake is crawling in our backbone or in our spinal cord. So this kinds of movements, these kinds of sensations also happen. So this is normally due to awakening of Kundalini. So just become aware of it, and uh, not be afraid of it, and there are no snakes around. Changing breath patterns. Sometimes the breathing pattern changes automatically. It either becomes rapid or slow. At times people feel that their breath has stopped and get alarmed. Breath and mind have a deep connection. People with frustrated, irritated minds have short and arrhythmic breathing or chaotic breathing, while people with calm and poised minds have rhythmic and deep breathing. When mind becomes completely still, we also feel like breathing also had stopped for a few moments. Breathing also becomes still for a while. The body metabolism also slows down, and the need for oxygen by the body is also reduced. So you need not be afraid of it. So there is all scientific reason behind it. Thought experiences. Decreased thoughts. As we stop following our thoughts, they decrease in number and gradually disappear. No thoughts. In deep meditation, we lose complete awareness of our thoughts. This is the stage of stillness. Emotional experiences. A deep meditation usually makes us feel refreshed and energized. Some people experience deep contentment, peace, bliss, and ecstasy. Some people cry or laugh out loud for no apparent reason. These are all completely okay. These are all the deep the deep feelings of our bliss world or the bliss body. Throat chakra experiences. When energy activates the throat chakra, this chakra of creation or creativity and expression, people start involuntarily yawning or sighing or burping or coughing. It's completely okay to cough. It's completely okay to burp. It's completely okay to yawn during meditation. Third eye experiences, like there are many kinds of third eye experiences we normally encounter during meditation, like headaches. Some people feel pressure, pain, tingling, itching, pulsing or pulling, or some other sensations in the forehead region. This means the third eye is being activated. Sometimes the eyeballs automatically roll upwards and become focused on the inner eye. Most vision experiences happen with the awakening of third eye. Some intense white dots, black sky with numerous stars, or the shape of an eye are all signs of an awakened third eye. These visions originate in higher dimensions. Lightening of the vision field. Some people feel that darkness behind their closed eyes is lifted and the field of vision has lightened. Seeing brilliant lights. Some people see brilliant lights that may increase or decrease in brilliance. Sometimes they feel light bursts and cover their body from head to toe. Some light is getting bursted in front of us, and we just feel that light is just covering our body from head to toe. With this, there is this like liquid light. Sometimes light appears in the body parts related to various chakras, like we may see some red color or some orange color or some yellow color or green color or sky blue color or indigo or purple. So these colors are related to chakras. When some work is being happening in those chakras, we see them at our third eye. Some people see themselves following a light, which usually signifies following a master energy. We also visualize, like we also have some vision, like we are following. There is a light there, and we are moving towards that light. So this happens because we are trying to follow that master's energy. Seeing colors, seeing various colors such as blue, red, yellow, green, violet, etc., or with different geometric shapes and patterns is a very common experience. This usually denotes healing energy, which is healing a specific chakra or body part. So basically, there can be some geometric patterns in front of us. These patterns also signify some kinds of uh, energy vibrations. So every geometry has a vibration. In India, we put rangolis in front of our homes just to create that vibration. Even in Japan, there is something called mandala. They create some huge drawing with a particular pattern. You might have all heard about crop circles. These are all, like the pattern creates certain kind of energy. So the geometry creates certain kinds of energy, and this is why Vastu. We talk about Vastu in India. So this is geometry is important. And visions of deities. Some people see visions of deities, guides, and masters. These visions may or may not correspond with a person's religious beliefs. Some people see friends and relatives who have departed from this physical world. The higher vibrations The higher the vibrations, more developed the dimension one explores. Like it depends on our own frequency. When we try to go into meditation, we have some visions and we have some experiences. So we are just exploring different dimensions. We are just seeing what else is inside us, seeing snapshots of future events. Some see snapshots of future events. These images may be blurred or more vivid. They can also see some parallel realities, and some see future events as they are happening right now. Seeing scenes of nature such as hills, forests, or rivers, some people feel as if a television has been switched on in front of their inner eye. They see nature, waterfalls, seashore, beautiful mountains in vivid rainbow colors. These visions energize and fill us with peace and tranquility. These scenes are usually part of an astral journey. Spontaneous past life recall. Some people experience some spontaneous past life recalls. So these are all common experiences uh, during meditation. Astral experiences. When our astral body receives a great influx of energy, it loosens up and gains momentum. The cosmic energy provides an impetus to the subtle body to come out and gain many astral experiences. So some of the astral experiences are like tunnel experience. The coming out of the subtle body may feel like a swill of energy that wants to suck us away into something. As if something like is sucking us. We feel like we are moving very fast through this dark tunnel-like hole, which emerges out into a brilliant light and into brilliant worlds. Like this is a kind of portal. We are trying to enter into the portal to access the other dimension. Sometimes we may feel like the body is contracting and becoming very small. Some may feel like their body is being expanded. One of my friend used to say like her body has expanded and had completely filled the whole universe. Some may have an experience of falling from a height. This happens when the astral body re-enters the physical body suddenly. When we feel like suddenly we are falling down. Even during sleep also many people get such dreams. So this happens because astral body is suddenly re-entering our physical body. Astral travel or out of body experiences. In an out of body experience, we feel that we are not present in our body but moving in a different world. We may even project ourselves in a very different location. We may feel that we are flying like a bird or an aeroplane. Some people also experience some astral surgeries. Some miscellaneous experiences. There are some miscellaneous experiences such as feeling of being healed of illness, losing consciousness of body from neck to downward, and some other experience like source experience. A deep meditational experience makes us realize that our source is completely pure and positive energy. We get into our own source. We know we go and meet our higher self. Losing awareness of sounds from outside. As we become aware of the stillness surrounding us, our hearing partially blocks the outside noise. Gradually, we do not hear any noise at all. In this stage, we start going in and out of the source energy. Source is nothing but the non-physical part of us. Losing awareness of time. When we are with the source, we lose awareness of time. We realize how much time has passed only when we come out of meditation. Complete stillness or samadhi. In this stage of samadhi, we feel that we are inside ourselves. We become aware of only ourselves. This is becoming uh, one with the source, receiving higher wisdom, inspiration, and insights. In this stage, we are at a very higher vibration level. We can hear the sounds and see images of other realms. We also receive messages, great wisdom, insights, and inspirations. This used to happen like I used to get some thoughts, insights. People call it as satori, or there is one other word called Kanshoy, or I don't remember that word. Satori, people can call that uh, receiving higher messages. We learn the nature of our souls. We can hear remarks and conversations of masters. Sometimes we may not even understand these conversations or symbols. This information gets stored in our DNA, and over a period of time, our brain retrieves this knowledge as our own thoughts. These are like called downloads. Some people call it as downloads. They try to download the information. Most of the time we don't understand. Some people download the information in light language. There used to be one master called Judy Satori. She talks in light language. So these all things can happen. So do's and don'ts during meditational experiences. All experiences are natural expressions of a natural process that unfolds when we access higher consciousness. Our experience shows that there is no path to spiritual realization. We need not compare our experiences with that of others. Most of the time we do that. Okay, I got this experience, you did not get this experience. Maybe I am wrong, maybe you are right. So all these kinds of things, superiority, inferiority complexes. So this we need to avoid. Sharing of experiences should not encourage feelings of criticism, competition, envy, inferiority, or superiority. We should refrain from glamorizing our experiences. We cannot always try to being stuck to an experience and make our self-esteem based on that experience. We need not do that. We need also to welcome unpleasant experiences in meditation. We need to be detached from both like and dislike. Sometimes we may notice energy movements in our body when we are not meditating also. There is nothing to be alarmed of. This happens because of cleansing and downloading processes are continuing, and you can just allow it to happen. So some of the tips to make our inner journey effective and easy. So we need to understand the difference between little voice and inner voice. So what is little voice? Little voices are the voices we heard. Let's say we heard something in our childhood. Some people told like you are bad or you are good. So whatever these voices are coming from the society which got stored in our mind. Inner voice is coming from the soul, from the higher intellect. So we need to differentiate. Most of the times we try to assume like our little voice is inner voice or inner voice is little voice. So we need to use some discrimination here, we need to use some intelligence here and cross check whether this voice, whatever I'm hearing or whatever the inside which is coming from inside, is it really coming from the soul or is it just my little voice, is it just my some memory of the past, or is it what I heard. We just need to differentiate that. Art of witnessing. It's very important to practice the art of witnessing. So most of the times we get into the mind play and we forget like the meditation we are trying to do it for a purpose. We are doing it for a particular reason, and then we try to go towards that visualization part, or we try to imagine, we try to manifest, we try to control the whole experience. So this completely blocks our inner journey. So you can be in the allowance mode, you can be in a witnessing mode, you can be in an acceptance mode, so that you can make this journey more effective. Openness, being open to whatever is surfacing. So the biggest block for meditation is our closed mind, is our rigid mind. So when our mind is rigid, we cannot really experience. We need to be open for the possibilities, we need to be open for new experiences to come in. Sharing and asking questions to right masters. Most of the times what happens is when we get an experience, we go to wrong people and they might condemn our experience, and this can lead to like completely we getting blocked there. So it's very important to know whom to share what. So most of the time you share your experiences with your spiritual groups. Don't share your experiences outside your spiritual group, so that it we not get into unnecessary judgments and unnecessary issues with them. And also asking questions. Asking questions is important, and most of the time asking to the right people is important, because everyone in the spiritual world are very enthusiastic to answer questions, and most of the times they even don't know whether the answers are right for that person or not. So it's very important to ask questions to right masters, and most of the times its best option is to ask questions to yourself and allow your meditation to answer those questions. And another important thing we need to keep in mind is control versus experience. So basically meditation is not control, meditation is an experience. So here, let's say the fan is rotating and I'm receiving the air on my body. Am I trying to control the air, or I'm trying to experience the air? I'm just trying to experience the air. I'm just trying to feel the air. So you always see, you always keep one thing in mind: see what you see, feel what you feel, and experience what you are experiencing. These are the main important things which have to be kept in mind during meditation. Meditation is for experiencing. It is like, getting into some kind of exciting journey and getting to know some things. And it's not about being controlling our whole experience, staying like, with rigid body, or this is not meditation. Is the inner journey is always controlled by the mind. With whatever you cannot enter into the unknown. So it's important to notice these differences and be more open to experience. Seven bodies and seven worlds. It's important to understand these concepts, because most of the times in meditation, we are traveling within, and we are experiencing the different worlds within. Like, there is a physical world, there is astral world, there is causal world, there is supracausal world, and bliss world, cosmic world, and nirvanic world. So there are many different worlds within, like, so it's important for us to know what are these worlds and how these worlds are, so that whenever we experience those dimensions, we need not be anxious or afraid about it. And also it's important to understand some concepts about chakras and some concepts about nadis, because most of the time in meditation we experience the energies. We talked about kundalini energy and cosmic energy. So most of these energies work on these chakras and nadis. So having some scientific knowledge about it can also help our inner journey easy and effective. So thank you very much for joining today. I wish that I could clarify most of your questions, and I always try to share this information with people, so that they can also get benefited. And thank you very much. If you want to download my ebook on meditation facilitator mastery, you can go back to this link, emultiversity.org/product/meditation experience ebook. Okay, and try to share it with everyone as much as you can. Thank you again for joining me today, and I wish you an effective and easy inner journey. Thank you.